Cardano aims to be a fully decentralized blockchain. But how exactly can a blockchain make decisions and create improvements and proposals if there is no centralized decision to make them? Well, I believe that for true decentralization, what we need is a good governance system. Okay, a system that helps the blockchain not go obsolete, and that at most it reflects the interests of its users. Good governance is what allows decentralized organizations to make good decisions in a fast, efficient, fair manner, and where those decisions mostly represent the interests of the community that actually utilizes this protocol. Okay, but governance and creating a good governance system is not at all simple, because there are so many questions we need to consider. We need to think, how do we actually incentivize people to participate? What degree of participation is considered enough to approve a decision and for this decision to be legitimate? People also have limited time, limited energy, limited knowledge about certain subjects, and they don't know everything about everything. So how can we make sure they are able to participate and make good decisions for the protocol and the future of the community, and especially decisions that reflect their ideologies and their principles and ideas? And how can we also incentivize members of the community to create proposals? And even more important than that, how can we make sure that those proposals are delivered in a proper way and that the results are what were expected? These and many more questions is what Cardano is trying to solve in the Voltaire era. And in fact, they already have some pretty interesting and revolutionary solutions, like the members-based organization and liquid democracy. And in this video, I'll focus on explaining these solutions and also show you how you can be a part and should be a part of this governance system. Remember that nothing in this video is financial advice, only educational content. And coming back to governance, that's the topic of this video. One of the major priorities right now for the Cardano development is in fact governance, and it's a priority that is tackled here in the Age of Voltaire, okay, and that is part of the Cardano Roadmap. The Age of Voltaire is something that's crucial for Cardano because it will allow this network to become a self-sustaining system, okay, and it will introduce the treasury system of Cardano to ensure that there are always funds to pay for the necessary developments of the blockchain in the future. But it will also, most importantly, allow users to use their stake and their voting rights to define the future of the Cardano blockchain. Okay, Cardano as a decentralized infrastructure since Chile, with all the stake pools and the decentralized consensus, but that's not enough to have full decentralization. You need to have the capacity to maintain and improve the blockchain over time in a decentralized way with decentralized decision making and improvement proposals that are actually executed. But one very important and interesting thing about Voltaire as well is that this treasury will be funded with fees, with transaction fees, with a fraction of the transaction fees that will go into this treasure. And I do think this development, this Voltaire era, is very important because it will put the power in the hands of the community, okay? And it will assure that no matter what IOHK or Emergo or Cardano Foundation want to do, what will happen is what the community wants, because the power is decentralized. But of course, this is a crucial area because it's important to get governance right. Governance needs to be well built, it needs to be sustainable, it needs to ensure participation from the members, it needs to be fair, to make sure the Cardano blockchain will have a good future, and incentives of the users, incentives of the institutions that will be a part of this decentralization and this governance process needs to be well aligned to make sure that at the end of the day the future of the Cardano blockchain is well assured, and also that the decisions represent what the majority of the community want in a informed way. I would say that's also very, very important. Okay, but yeah, I have here a nice PowerPoint presentation for you about this era. Okay, where we have here the Age of Voltaire, an age of transformation and self-sustainability for the Cardano blockchain, as we mentioned. Okay, and here it's basically the era that will define the standards for the governance process of the Cardano blockchain and will define how everything will happen. Okay, and yeah, this is something that the Cardano team wants to work alongside with the Cardano community. Needs to be co-creation, this era of Voltaire and this governance process. And for that, while they are working on it, there are three major principles they are tackling and they are considering. And these principles are here. There are the democratic consent that is basically ensuring that everything that is done in this stage, everything that is decided, the entire governance process is legitimate in the eyes of the Cardano community, that they agree with it and they feel represented. That's super important from that. And another thing they have to consider while developing these ideas and working on this governance system are the institutions. Okay, one side they have the institutions that are the companies working with Cardano, working on Cardano, working on top of Cardano, and that are basically led by people and they have some values and enter the year with some values. And then we have the institutions that are the norms, the conventions, the things, the standards, the principles that the community agrees on and shares, and that's why they are all here together. And finally, another thing we need to consider is leadership. Okay, so it's important to create an environment that instills leadership, that where leaders develop and leaders that can inspire other people, inspire organizations, and take the Cardano ecosystem further. Okay. Well, the first step in the process of creating this governance system is to actually define, along with the community, the creation of a members-based organization. Okay, a members-based organization that should basically work together to develop and improve Cardano, as it's stated here. Okay, because yeah, so far the community is a part of the project. They share their opinions, they use the protocol, they can support or reject some of the plans of development of Cardano. They can even vote in Catalyst, that is basically a fund that we have to fund projects, and where basically it's a decentralized fund where all the holders of Cardano can go there, vote, support the projects they think are valuable and necessary for the Cardano blockchain and that are actually viable. And after that, those projects that are getting the majority of the votes actually get the fund to build on Cardano, and they have all accountability system. It's a very interesting experience because that's what it is. Catalyst has been an experience for Cardano in terms of governance, and it's an experience they can learn a lot about, and which you want to take conclusions to introduce here in this Voltaire era and in the governance for the whole Cardano blockchain, not just for this treasury that supports the development of projects. Okay, but still, even though the Cardano community already has this power and this influence, most of the decisions related with the protocol and related with a lot of things like Mithril or Hydra are made by IOHK, maybe sometimes with some input by the Cardano Foundation or Emergo. But the decisions are pretty centralized, and the community doesn't really have a power to decide. They can just influence with their opinion, but they cannot decide. The decision always ends up, in this case right now, in the institution. So yeah, a successful and positive blockchain in the future, should be decentralized to give power to the members, the power of decision to decide the future of the blockchain. It is also a way to make sure that the blockchain won't just go obsolete, because there is actually a governance system that makes proposals and moves the blockchain further. Okay, but of course this is not an easy task at all. As I was mentioned before in the intro, it's important to get things right, make sure that the process is as fair as possible, and that the the people make this informed decisions, and that their interests above all are safeguarded. Okay, that's super important. And besides that, I think it's also important to look at the user experience, make it very simple, as possible, and try to minimize the barriers to entry, so you have a larger participation for all the members of the Cardano community, because the larger the participation, the more legitimate the decisions that are made from this governance process are. Okay, and finally, it's also very important, while they are developing this, to be very careful with the relationship between the users and the stake, because it's very likely that just a few users will have the majority of the stake, and if the power is all focused in the stake, is like one coin, one vote, then those users will basically be able to control the blockchain. They can even come together, the users with the most Cardano, the most Ada, can come together and try to collude to approve proposals that are in their interest. Sure that right now the distribution of the Cardano of Ada tokens is pretty decentralized, but in the future we never know which institutions could come and buy a lot of tokens to try to influence the decision-making process in the Cardano blockchain. So that's something to be very aware, and that's a balance they need to have between the stake and also the individuals. They need to consider the individuals, so that individuals that have a low stake, because maybe they are less fortunate in terms of financial conditions, can still have a say and ensure that their interests are safeguarded. Okay, so that's also a balance that's very tricky, and that they need to get it right, to actually have a good governance system that caters the majority of the users and not just the majority of the stake. That's very important. So sure that people with more stake could have a bit more power. I guess that's fair in some ways, because they have a more at risk, but they shouldn't have all the power. And certainly the small people that have less conditions, less Ada, should also have the possibility to make decisions, okay, and to influence the future. The Age of Voltaire is basically the goal of this age is to create the building blocks to maximize the participation of the Cardano community. Okay, after all, maximizing participation is the best way to assure legitimacy in the decisions. And to do that, they have these 4 pillars here that we can see, with the first one being the members based organization. Okay, so members based organization, it will be a team that will be constituted of members of the Cardano blockchain that want to be part of it, that want to be part of the governance system, and that want to have an active voice and help build and maintain the protocol in the best way possible. Okay, and I'm in fact developing a video about this members based organization, and if you guys want to see that video and want to learn more about what it is in depth, you can and you should subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss that one, for sure. But then we have also the Cardano constitution. This will be a constitution much like the constitutions that countries have, like the USA constitution, for example, and it will have the defining values and principles, the share values and principles that will guide the governance of the Cardano blockchain. Okay, and these should be principles that are generally accepted by the community, and that should be respected across time. Okay. Then we have on-chain governance, and on-chain governance is basically using the blockchain to actually facilitate the vote, and the changes in the protocol, and to make sure that everything is as unbiased, as fair, and as transparent as possible through the use of the blockchain for voting, for proposals, for the entire governance process. Just not the part of the debates and everything. So this part where we have the Cardano governance project, the Cardano governance process will be a mix between, of course, on-chain and off-chain processes, and this is the on-chain part that is very important. But besides that, there will be an off-chain part where people discuss the proposals, where people actually talk to each other. And then we also have here the liquid democracy. Okay, that is a concept that Cardano blockchain hopes that will allow for maximum participation, discussion, and for more informed decisions to be taken at each given topic, and decisions that are overall better to the community, to also ensure that the things that are being built that are positive are not destroyed just because people don't understand what they are working for, as what they are doing. As Charles Hosking once said, if you, for example, don't know how to read, maybe you see the books and you think, oh, this is useless. Maybe let's just burn them to make fire and be hot at night. So it's very important that people understand what things are and take informed decisions, and liquid democracy should help with that. And then we have here the entire process of how governance should work on the Cardano blockchain. And of course, governance, as I said before, should be a combination of on-chain and off-chain processes that will allow for the update of the Cardano blockchain. And naturally, in the beginning, we have the proposal stage, where anyone can basically submit a proposal to the Cardano blockchain to initiate any kind of changes they want, like hard forks, parameters changes, treasury movements, or funding some project, for example, new constitution. All these changes that are here can be in fact proposed. And of course there is also for before that, or even after, before and after, there will be of course a debate within the community. Okay, and debate that will probably be off-chain, where people will share these ideas, and people will also see the support to these proposals, because probably it's not that worth it to just put proposals on chain if you have no support for them. So people will discuss them probably within the MBO, so that they have a place to actually discuss, that everyone can be a part of and actually participate. And then we have the review stage, where the MBO conducts technical impact and feasibility analysis of the proposal of the project. But it's very important that they cannot veto. It's just giving their opinion, giving their advices. The MBO should have a lot of experts within it. So the idea here is to have the experts doing this analysis, and then people will have these reports, these more informed reports to read, consider, and maybe guide their decisions. Okay. Finally, we have here the ratification situation. In the terms of the ratification situation, it's just a constitutional committee that will just check that the proposal is in line with the Cardano constitution and doesn't breach the values and principles that everyone agreed on. Because the Cardano constitution should be something that's going to be agreed and signed by all the participants of the Cardano blockchain. And then we also have the part of the endorsement. Okay, and the endorsement is special. This is for especially hard forks. It's important that the stake pool operators endorse this hard fork and make the necessary changes in their stake pools operations to actually go forward with this endorsement, with this hard fork. And if that doesn't happen, an hard fork won't be possible, because you won't have validators updating to this new version of the Cardano blockchain. So in this case, for hard forks, stake pool operators do have a lot of power. Okay, and then finally, we have the enactment, where proposals that are approved and they are ratified and endorsed, they will be applied. Finally, we have here liquid democracy. Okay, and we'll here discuss a little bit about liquid democracy, because I believe it's one of the strangest concepts here in this explanation. Well, liquid democracy is a concept that was invented by a man named Charles Lotson. Maybe you know him as the creator of Alice in Wonderland, and it's just a form of representative democracy. Okay, to simplify what is written here and make it much more understandable, liquid democracy basically assures that every situation is voted like a democracy. Okay, you have the right, but a different democracy. It's basically, let's imagine we have a topic, okay, to decide on, and in that topic we can vote. We can actually do direct voting on that topic. Okay, through the blockchain, we can inform ourselves and cast our opinion. But imagine that we have a topic that we don't know that much about, or we are not that interested, we don't have a strong opinion, and we don't have the time, or even we don't really want to research much about it and create an informed opinion. So maybe we can delegate our vote in that special topic to an expert, okay, an expert with us and with who we maybe share some ideologies or beliefs, and we can delegate our vote in that specific topic to that expert that will vote in our name, or that can in turn delegate their vote to another expert if they feel like doing so. And basically like that we'll be able to participate in an indirect way. And the good part here is that with this kind of dynamic system, it's a very dynamic system, we can decide for every topic which topics we want to vote, which topics we are okay delegating, and even within different topics we can, for example, delegate in one topic to this person that is an expert with these ideas, and in another topic that is completely different we'll then delegate to another expert with some other ideas that are more that we agree more with, you know. And that's very interesting. It's a mix between direct participating and voting, and it's also something that allows you to make the best and more informed decisions. And whenever you don't have the capacity to make those decisions, you can actually ask for help and use an expert that will make those decisions for you. You know, until this day, we haven't actually seen an effective and actual real world implementation of this liquid democracy. But we do think that with blockchain technology, with the internet, this is actually possible. It facilitates a lot the internet, the process of learning about our topic, and even do some direct voting, something we couldn't do before that much because our profession is not being informed about the topics and everything that's being discussed. That's supposedly the profession of politics. We have other professions and we don't have the time for that. But right now, and at the time, information was not as easily accessible, but right now it is super accessible and we can actually do that. But besides that, with the blockchain technology, we can actually cast our votes in a very simple, fast, efficient and transparent manner that cannot be tampered with. So that will facilitate a lot this process of liquid democracy and delegating also our power, our voting power. It's also possible through the blockchain to facilitate having an expert voting for us on a certain topic. Okay, so those are the main concepts right now in the Cardano governance system. I'd love to know what you think. Please drop it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to learn more about Cardano, don't forget to check the playlist that comes next about the Cardano ecosystem. Okay, and there I'll also add the video I talked to you about the members-based organization when it comes out. So it's something you should definitely check out to complete your knowledge about Cardano, especially because if you're seeing this video, it's probably something that interests you. So see you there.